later on also. But please attend the, paper discussion live, okay? Because, here you can ask anything right now, okay, if you're not understanding. Okay, so, now what I am going to do in today's paper discussion, and from here onwards, every question which I am discussing, I will put three things: order, easy, medium, or tough. Okay. Easy, medium, or tough. So that you can get an idea which questions you could have attempted. Now you see, you are the first batch, so easy and moderate, so you should be attempting. Tough, it depends on your caliber, because some questions are really very good. Okay. But easy and medium you should try. So when we have gone through this whole paper, we will discuss which of the questions you could have done and how much you could have gotten. Okay. So that virtual marks, expected marks, you should try to reach that value. Obviously, there are some questions which are not known to you, or which are totally out of your reach. Those questions we are not talking about. But those questions which could have done correctly, that we should be focusing on. Okay. So, shall we start? Everyone is here. It's 5:02. How many people are there? So 31 people are there. Okay. And so I will be starting it with 31 people only. Okay. Or because if you are not attending, I can't do anything. Okay. So let us start the paper discussion. Question number 19 and 20. These two questions first. 20. Okay. 19. You see. 19. Yeah, I told you people earlier also that dichromate, even though it changes color during a redox reaction, it is not a very reliable indicator. So instead of relying on dichromate self-indication, we use diphenylamine. Okay, it is an indicator which we use in redox titrations involving dichromate. So it changes color from colorless to violet. This is a fact which you have to know. Okay, once you know this, this question is done. Option B, I2 versus thiosulfate. Iodine is not a self-indicator. Starch is used as the indicator in this case. Okay, so you will get a violet colored layer with starch. Okay, in case of iodine. Option C, NaSCO3 versus HCl, methyl is correct. And oxalic acid versus KMNO4. KMNO4 here I have already told. It gives a sharp color change, so it is used as an indicator. Okay, so you see, I will consider this to be a moderate question because, two of the options you could have figured out and you are having partial marking. Are you getting my point? Next, question number 20. Yeah, question number 20. Tell me. I will discuss each and every question because I know that some or other doubts will be there. Okay, question number 20, tell me, which option? Now, option number 1, I have discussed in the class today only, that for ideal gas, both delta H by delta P will be equal to 0 and delta U by delta V will be equal to 0. So if only one of them is 0, the other need not be equal to 0, unless until it is an ideal gas. For real gas, the second one need not to be equal to 0. If both are 0, it is ideal gas. Are you clear?
Explain option D, sir.
Option D. Okay.
C also.
Okay. Now you see in option D, what is heat capacity? Is Q by delta T. Q is equal to what? C delta T. This is the definition of heat capacity. You see, when you are having a equilibrium, then the temperature is constant. So delta T is basically equal to 0 only. If delta T is 0, then C will be infinity. Are you getting my point? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Option.
So this I will consider that, okay, this option is a bit tricky, but B, C and D you can do easily. Again, I will say that this is a moderate question. Okay. So after this, 21. Yeah, 21. Now 21 is a doubt? Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I will discuss it. Okay. Now in 21, you see you can write G as H minus TS. So you can write DG is equal to DH minus TDS minus SDT. Okay. Now I have given you a combined first law plus second law, which is TDS is equal to DU plus PdV. That is one equation, and TDS is equal to DH minus VdP. This you people are knowing this?
Yes.
Are you familiar with this equation? So we have, see, since here DH is there, so I will be using this equation. So instead of writing, I can write DH is equal to DH minus TDS is equal to VdP. So if I am using it here, I can write DG is equal to VdP minus SDT. Now for equilibrium, DG will be equal to 0. Okay. Now what if I am increasing pressure? DP will be what? Positive? Right.
Not audible, sir.
It's not audible. 1 minute.
Now it's okay, sir.
Okay. That is okay. Okay. So if DP is positive, then what will happen? DG will become positive because the whole value was initially 0. Now it is some positive value. So if DP is positive, then DG will be positive. If DP is negative, means pressure is decreasing, then DG will be negative. So my first option is at 400 Kelvin and 1 atm pressure, delta G is 0. That is correct. Okay. So you see delta G can be written as, is initially 0. Now if you are changing VdP, then it will be changing to delta G plus DG. So you see, in this case, DG will be positive because VdP is, second case, you are increasing pressure to 2 atm. So dP is positive, so DG will be positive. So the whole thing, delta G will be what? Positive. Are you getting my point?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So delta G is positive is correct. Okay. Now, if you are decreasing pressure, then dP will be what? Negative. I am not changed temperature here. So SDT will be 0 only. So if dP is negative, then DG will be negative, delta G will be negative. Are you getting my point?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, these two we have discussed. So this is also correct. Now here you see you are keeping pressure constant, you are increasing temperature. This means what? DT is positive. If DT is positive, then minus SDT will be what? Negative. And I have kept pressure to be same as the earlier. So dP is 0 here. So if temperature is increasing, DT is positive, so DG will become negative. Okay, so they have given delta G to be positive. Are you getting my point? So that is wrong. It should be negative. Are you getting this point?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Now this is something which I don't expect you people to do. Okay. You can be expected to do this only if you have solved a problem like this before. This I will categorize as a tough problem. Is it clear? Okay, but the logic is simple, but you need exposure to these type of problems. Okay. Can we move forward?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Okay.
sir. Yes, sir.
उसके बाद 22. So this is question number 22, I guess. Okay. In this, what is happening is that I am having a flask in which I am having OCl minus, and I am having burette in which I am having what? I am having iodide ion. And when I am putting this iodide ion into OCl minus, this reaction is taking place. Okay. Now, you see it is given that the volume of solution taken in the flask and that in burette is identical. So I can say that V flask is equal to V burette is equal to V. Okay, that I have said. Now you see,
Again,
yes. Okay, so now you see flask is having OCl minus. Okay. So you see, when I'm talking about reaction, milliequivalent of OCl minus will be equal to milliequivalent of I minus as per this reaction. Okay, even the balanced reaction is given, I will be using milliequivalent solvent. Okay, so you can write N factor of OCl minus is 2. OCl minus contains chlorine in +1 oxidation state. Okay, just write me. OCl minus going to Cl minus. Cl is in +1 and it is going to -1. So what will be the N factor? +1 going to -1, N factor will be equal to 2.
2.
And I minus is going to I2. Okay. I minus is going to I2. You see, it is -1, it is going to 0. Per atom change is 1. N factor of I minus is 1. So I can say milliequivalent of OCl minus is equal to milliequivalent of I minus. Okay. Now, this will be equal to N factor, which is 2, into volume, into, let us say, molarity of OCl minus is capital M. And that will be equal to 1, which is the N factor of I minus, into volume of the burette, volume of the solution which is used in the burette, which is VB. See, initially we cannot assume that all of the solution in burette is used. Some amount of, because we are putting it drop by drop. Okay. So initial maximum capacity is V, but it may be the case that not all of the burette volume is totally used. So I am saying that volume of the burette which is used is VB and molarity is 0.12. Okay, so from this I can say that volume of the burette used will be, now 2 and 0.12 will cancel out, you will get 0.06. So you can write it as M by 0.06 into V. Okay. Now you see M represents the molarity of NaOCl. So you see, if the molarity of NaOCl is 0.03, the volume of burette which is used is V by 2. Are you getting my point?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. And if molarity is 0.06, then the volume of the burette used will be V. Okay. Just put the value of M here. Okay. So technically, you see 0.06 means that full of total iodide solution should have been used. Okay, but it is only given half, so this option cannot be correct. For 0.03 molar NaOCl, 2/3 of iodide solution should be used. Okay, that is also incorrect. For 0.03, only half of the burette solution is used. For 0.05 molar NaOCl, whole of iodide solution is used. That is also incorrect. In this case, 5/6 V will be used. Okay, if you put 0.05 here, you get 5/6 V. And last case is 0.03 molar NaOCl, half of iodide solution is used. That is correct. Are you getting my point?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Sir, can you explain the last step, like substituting the M values?
See, if you are putting NaOCl as 0.03, how much of the burette volume is used? It is 0.03 by 0.06 into V.
Yes,
Or
sir, I got it.
that is V by 2. Similarly, if your NaOCl concentration is 0.06, it will be 0.06 by 0.06 into V. Are you getting my point?
so once
Yes.
explain
Yes.
N factor.
N factor of OCl minus. You see, OCl minus to have oxygen in -2, so chlorine will be +1. Getting my point?
Okay.
So +1 going to -1, N factor is 2.
Okay.
In this case, N factor is 1. Okay. So,
-1 to
yeah, -1 to 0 in this case, so it is 1, -1, +1 to -1, N factor is 2. So all the calculations are based on this only. So VB is equal to V by 2. So only option D is correct, but they have given option B also. That is not correct.
Yes,
There will
sir.
be a key change here. Okay. This will be a key change. 1 minute. This will be a key change. The answer should be only D, not BD. This cannot be the answer. Okay. The 22 is a key change. So I think if it is a key change, those who have only marked D should be getting the answer, or they can also go for delete because it is a partial marking. Okay. So let us see what they will be doing. Okay. But you should be knowing how to do this question. Is it clear to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, okay. After this, question number 23.
23.
In
Explain, sir. 20.
yeah, I will explain. Okay. As in 23, it is saying that you have a two-phase system. Okay, so let me just write 23 here. So in these type of papers, no, I have to figure out everything in advance, so that in class you don't have to wait. Okay, 1 minute. What is happening? Is it frozen? Is it frozen? Yeah. No. So in 23, you see you have liquid in equilibrium with vapor. So you see T is constant. Whenever there is an equilibrium, T is constant. Okay. And here it is given that even pressure is constant. Now you see, if you are allowing liquid to vaporize, means you are giving some delta S to the system. Are you getting my point?
Yes, sir.
Then only the vaporization will take place. So if delta H is positive, then option A is correct. Now, when you're talking about that some of the liquid is vaporizing, okay. So you see, then what is happening is that delta S system will be greater than 0. Okay. Delta S system will be greater than 0. Why? Because some liquid is vaporizing. Okay. So what is happening? The sum of liquid is getting converted into vapor. So entropy of the system will be increasing. Getting my point?
Yes, sir.
In this case, option B is incorrect. Now, since it is in equilibrium, so delta S total will be equal to 0 only. Because delta G is equal to 0. See, delta G is what? Minus T delta S total. So delta G is 0, then T delta S total will also be equal to 0. So C and D are correct. Getting my point?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So answer will be ACD. So this I can consider to be a moderate question. Okay, at least you can figure out two options so very easily. In fact, all three you can figure out easily.
The
Okay,
previous question.
previous question. Previous I will consider it to be, see, as such the question is moderate, but since the answer is given wrong, okay, it is moderate only. In terms of solving, it is moderate. But there is a key change here. Okay. See, if you are able to understand it easily, then it is moderate. Okay. Means if you are right now able to understand, but you are not able to solve it in the class exam, it is moderate. Okay. This means that now you can attempt these type of questions. If you are able to do it in the class and you are obviously you are understanding it here, it will be easy. Okay. And if you are finding it tough to understand it in one go, then I will consider it to be difficult. Okay. So, or if you are not knowing the concept, okay, or you know, the variation you are not knowing that, okay, then only I will consider it to be tough. Now 24. 24 is it out? I think all
D is
the
also
What
correct.
is
only, no,
option
sir?
D?
D also correct, no, sir.
option D is also correct. So 24, there is a key change. Answer should be A, B, C, D.
All.
All. Okay, even D is correct. With the help of an external work, you can transfer heat from cold body to hot body.
Clausius statement.
That is a Clausius statement. Yeah, we have discussed that. Okay, and that is considered under the
Yes.
second law of thermodynamics. So 24 is an easy question. I think all options are very, straightforward. Let us move forward. Okay, 25.
Explain.
Yeah, 25. I know that I have to explain. Okay, you see, 25 is a type of question which is a combination of redox titration as well as acid-base reaction. First of all, you have to find the molarity of Mn plus ion. So you see, you have 1.92% W by V. This means you have 1.92 grams of Mn plus in 100 ml of solution. Okay. Now, what is happening in this question? I am telling you first. You see, you have N2H4, which is a base. Okay. Now, when you are, it is reacting with, CO2 in aqueous solution, it will be forming this type of compound. N2H4, N2H5 plus
Sir,
and SCO3 minus. Okay. So it is given in the form, I think they have given it like this actually.
sir,
And
once
two-
could you explain the question?
This 25.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. So,
Sir, I could not see the screen, sir.
you cannot see the screen. Okay.
You can see.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I have to just, write something extra here. Okay. Let me first explain you what is happening. See, you have N2H4. Okay. N2H4 is basically NH2NH2. So it is having an acidic hydrogen, and when you are, dissolving CO2 in water, you get H2CO3, which looks something like this. So what is happening is that first these two are reacting. These are reacting like this. Water is getting out. So you are getting NH2, NH, CO, OH. Are you getting my point? You are getting this compound. Now this compound, when it is reacting with, this will be, dissociating to give NH2, NH, COO minus plus H plus. Are you getting my point? Now Mn, this anion part is reacting with Mn plus, and it is getting precipitated as M, NH2, NH, CO whole M. Are you getting my point? Did you understood what happened here? This reaction is okay, huh?
Sir,
Sir,
but we
last,
don't
sir.
know those reactions, no, sir.
Yeah, you don't know these reactions right now. Okay, so that is why this question is a tough question for you people. Okay, but I'm just explaining how this thing is happening. Okay, this question I don't expect any of one of you to be solving. Okay, because you people are not aware of these type of reactions right now. Okay, but
There
just
is a last step again.
last step.
Last.
See, this is an acid. Okay, because it is having a COH group. So it will break into CO minus and H plus. That I have written here. Okay. Since Mn plus is a cation and anion will combine to give a precipitate salt. Are you getting my point?
Yes,
So
sir.
what is hydrogen hydrate, sir?
Yeah, let me come to that part. First, Have you understood this part? Now, hydrogen hydrate is basically N2H4.H2O. Okay, its molar mass will be something like 50. Hydrogen.H2O, hydrogen hydrate. Okay, now you see, from this whole sequence, what can I write? I can write that 1 mole of Mn plus will be reacting with how many moles of N2H4? See, 1 mole of Mn plus will react with 1 mole of, with N moles of NH2, NH, CO minus. Are you getting this? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Now, if it is reacting with 1 N moles of this, then it will be reacting with N moles of this, it will be reacting with N moles of hydrogen. So I can say that 1 mole of Mn plus reacts with N moles of hydrogen. Okay. Now let us look to the question. Now you see, I have been given 5.332 grams of hydrogen hydrate, which is 90% pure, and 50 ml of 1.92% W by V solution of Mn plus, whose atomic weight is 60. First, I need to find out what does this percentage W by V will give me in terms of molarity. 1.92% W by V means I am having 1.92 grams of this metal cation in 100 ml of solution. So in 1000 ml of solution, I will be having 19.2 grams of Mn plus. Okay. And that will be equal to 19.2 by 60. It will be 0.32 moles. Now you see, I am having 0.32 moles in 1000 ml, which is 1 liter of solution. So molarity is 0.3 molar, 2 molar. Are you getting up to this step?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, okay. Now, what will be the millimoles of Mn plus? It will be molarity into volume in milliliter. I am starting with 50 ml of this thing. So millimoles of Mn plus will be how much? 50 into 0.32. So this means that I started with 16 millimoles of Mn plus. Are you getting my point?
Sir, why you took into 50?
Because I am calculating millimoles. Millimoles is equal to molarity into volume in ml. Getting my point? Yes or no?
Sure.
Yes.
So you see, I have calculated how many millimoles of Mn plus I am having. Okay. Now, you see, if I have gotten this thing, that 1 mole of Mn plus is reacting with N moles of N2H4, then 16 millimoles of Mn plus will react with how many millimoles? 16 and millimoles of N2H4. Are you getting my point?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now you see, let us, after this we have to focus on hydrogen hydrate. Now you see, you are given 5.332 grams of hydrogen hydrate, which is 90% pure. So what is the weight of pure hydrogen hydrate, which is N2H4.H2? It will be 5.332 into 0.9. If you do the calculation, it will come out to be like 4.8 grams. Okay. So what with the now you see the molar mass of hydrogen hydrate is 50 grams. What will be the millimoles of hydrogen hydrate? It will be 4.8 by 50 moles. Are you getting it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, and if I convert it into millimoles, I will just multiply the whole thing by 1000. Okay, so it is 4.8 by 50 into 1000 millimoles. That will be 96 millimoles. Okay, so you see millimoles of hydrogen is 96 millimoles. Now you see what is happening is that it is saying that the entire metal gets precipitated. Okay, and after that, whatever filtrate is there. So you see some of the hydrogen went away along with the metal. The remaining will react with KiO3, which is an oxidizing agent. So here N2H4 will be acting as a reducing agent. Are you getting my point?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you see, as per this reaction, okay, so this is the reaction which I have already discussed. Okay. Now you see, in this reaction, when you are talking about IO3 minus is going to I plus. What is the N factor of IO3 minus? ICl minus I plus and Cl minus.
4.
4. And N2H4 is going to N2. What is the N factor of nitrogen here? N2H4. It will be 4. Minus 2 to 0 for how many atoms? 2. So I can say that whatever was the excess N2H4 after this reaction reacted completely with the given volume of IO3 minus. So I can say the milli equivalence of excess N2H4 will be equal to milli equivalence of IO3 minus. Can I say this?
Once again, you say.
What I am saying is that, you see, this N2H4 is the excess N2H4. Okay. So, you see, if you are visualizing this reaction, you have N2H4. Okay. Some of this is reacting with your Mn plus, and there is some of the N2H4 which is excess, and this is reacting with IO3 minus, and the reaction is closed. So if you know the milli equivalence of IO3 minus here, what is the milli equivalence of IO3 minus here? Can you tell me? It will be 1 by 10 into volume is how much? 480, and N factor is how much? What is the N factor of
4.
IO3 minus? 4.
4.
So it will be how much? It will be 192 MEQs.
192.
So what is the milli equivalence of excess N2H4? 192 MEQs. Are you getting my point? Now you see here N2H4 is taking part in two different types of reactions. So we cannot use the same N factor for both reactions. Are you getting my point? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So what we do is that we convert it into millimoles. What is the N factor of N2H4 here? 4. So what is the millimoles here? It is 192 by 4. It will be 48 millimoles. Are you getting my point?
Yes, sir.
Now, initially, you started with 96 millimoles of N2H4. You see here. Initially, I started with 96 millimoles of N2H4. Are you clear? So, after first step, I am only left with 48 millimoles of N2H4. So, how many millimoles consumed in the first step?
40.
Millimoles of N2H4
48.
consumed in the first step. It will be initial millimoles minus excess millimoles. It will be 96 minus 48. It will be 48 millimoles. And this reacted with what? Mn plus. Are you getting my point?
Yes.
Now you see 16 millimoles, 16 m millimoles of Mn plus will react with 16 into n millimoles of N2H4. So this value should be equal to 48 millimoles. Can I say this?
Yes.
So what is the value of n? N will be 3. Okay, now this question requires, a bit of understanding about this reaction. Okay, if you're not getting this reaction, it will be difficult for you. Okay, so that is why this is a tough question for you people. Okay, if you have figured out this, then I think you can figure out the other parts of this question. But figuring out this reaction is a bit difficult. Okay, it will come with a bit of experience on it. Okay. So this is a tough question. There are certain things in this thing which you people are not aware of. That is why. Are you getting my point?
Yes.
Okay. After this, 26.
26.
Is a doubt?
Yes,
You want me
sir.
to discuss?
Yes, sir.
26 is something which, is something like problems which we have discussed in the class. You see, you are having a mixture of NaOH and Na2CO3. And you are using first phenolphthalein as indicator, and the reaction is taking place. When the reaction is finished, then you are using methyl orange as indicator, and further some reaction will take place. So you have to find the composition of the mixture. Okay, we are starting with NaOH. Let me just change this. We are starting with NaOH as A millimoles and Na2CO3 as B millimoles. Okay, now when phenolphthalein is taken as an indicator, then what will happen? All strong base will react. Okay, so you see, NaOH is always a strong base, so NaOH will be converted into H2O. This you are getting, so its N factor will always be 1 only. It will take only 1 H plus. Now with phenolphthalein, Na2CO3 will be going into NaSCO3 only. After that, the reaction won't be indicated. This I think you people are knowing. Yes or no?
Yes, sir. Yes.
So here, N factor of Na2CO3 will be 1. Okay, so I can write milliequivalent of base is equal to A into 1 plus B into 1. So that will be equal to A plus B. And that should be equal to milliequivalents of HCl, which is Deci normal. Deci normal means how much? 0.1 normal. So I can write 0.1 into 50 is equal to A plus B. So A plus B is equal to 5. Are you getting my point?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, it is saying, now what will happen after the reaction, this reaction is done? Na2CO3 will be converted into NaSCO3, right? So, if I started with B millimoles of Na2CO3, now how much of NaSCO3 I am having? B millimoles?
B.
Okay. Now, when you are adding methyl orange after this reaction, then it will only indicate this reaction, NaSCO3 going to H2CO3. Are you getting this point?
Yes, sir.
So, for this, N factor is equal to 1. So, I can write that B into 1 is equal to milliequivalence of HCl, which is 10 ml of 0.1 normal HCl. So, 10 into 0.1. From this, B will be equal to 1. If B is equal to 1, then A will be equal to 4. So, A is equal to 4 means you have 4 millimoles of NaOH, or 4 into 40 into 10 power minus 3 grams of NaOH. That is equal to 160 grams of NaOH. Are you getting this point?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So I expect that you people must have done this question in the exam. Have you done this
Yes, sir.
question? Okay. So I will, just because I have discussed exactly this type of question in the class. Exactly. I think NaOH and Na2CO3 I have taken as one of the examples. So I will consider this question to be moderate only. Not easy because, it is a double titration question. I never consider them to be easy. But considering that you are familiar with this model, it should be moderate for me. 27. Is it out?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So
Sir,
let
we
us
kept answer as 8.99. Yes, sir.
No, you'll be getting at 8.999 actually. and you have to, round it to 2 decimal places. That's why you will be getting 9 as answer.
But we have written the answer as 8.99, sir.
Yes.
Exactly.
Let us see
In the
whether they will give the marks or not. Okay. See, the places where, like in question number 28, my answer is coming exactly to be 107.72. There I will claim for the, key change. But here it will be difficult. But process-wise, you see, you are having some bleaching powder and you are dissolving it in 100 ml of water. So you see, bleaching powder is basically CaOCl2. It will contain some chlorine, and this chlorine is the oxidizing agent. So I am dissolving whole of thing into 100 ml of solution. So it will have some millimoles of chlorine. Out of this 100 ml, I take 20 ml of solution, and I am treating it with Ki. And you will be getting I2, which I am treating it with Na2H2O3. Reaction is finished. So I think milliequivalence of Na2H2O3 will be 15.21 into 0.1 into 1, which will be 1.521. Milliequivalence of thiosulfate will be equal to milliequivalence of iodine, and that will be equal to milliequivalence of chlorine. Up to this you are getting?
Yes, sir.
Once again, explain.
See, chlorine is reacting with Ki, and you will be getting I2. This I2 will be estimated by reacting with hypo. Okay, so milliequivalence of hypo will be equal to milliequivalence of I2. Are you getting my point?
Yes, sir.
So this is 1.521, so this is also 1.521. And since I2 is having the same N factor across these two reactions, so milliequivalence of I2 should be equal to milliequivalence of Cl2, which will be 1.2521 MeV. Getting this?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now you see, 20 ml is containing 1.521 milliequivalence. So 100 ml will contain 5 into 1.521 milliequivalence of chlorine. Okay. And this will be, N factor is 2 for chlorine. So it will be 5 by 2 into 1.521 millimoles of chlorine. And molar mass is 71 for chlorine. It will be 5 by 2 into 1.521. We have to convert it into moles into 10 power minus 3 into 71. This will be grams of chlorine. So percentage chlorine will be the weight of chlorine by sample weight into 100. If you solve it, you will get answer to be 8.999. That is equal to, if you round it off, you will get it as 9 only. Okay, let us say whether they will give.
Sir, how did you get 5 into 1.521 milliequivalence of Cl2?
In 20 ml, you are having 1.52 ml. Okay.
Okay, sir.
In 100 ml, you have to multiply this by 5. You have to multiply this by 5 also. Getting my point?
Yes, sir.
Other things are clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
This
Sir,
question,
From next
8.999.
so if it is 8.999 and you round off, then it will be 9 only, no?
But we have kept answer as 8.99.
They might give you the benefit. Okay. I'm not sure if they are considering a range of, like 0.02 or 0.01, they might give. But you see, we are, if you know the process, it is good. Okay. Is this clear?
Sir, but instructions are not given to us that we have to round off the numbers. Like before we did that and we lost marks, right, sir?
No. This section contains 8 questions. Each question is a numerical value.
Sir, that was not given to us in the exam. It's given only here in every exam.
Yes, sir.
Like that. Okay. So you see, this you should keep it as a norm. Okay. That in all numerical value question, you have to round off up to second decimal place. Okay. If the answer is coming to by like 1.538, you have to round out to be 1.54. I think rounding off, I have told you people, if it is coming out to be 1 minus of 2.422, then you can round it out to minus 2.42. Okay, so this rounding off you have to do. Are you getting my point?
So then will we get the mark for 8.99?
See, I hope that you people get, but even if you don't get, at least you should be happy that you know the method. Are you clear?
But sir, instructions are not given.
That you can talk to Sirisha ma'am. Okay. Even I will talk to Sirisha ma'am regarding that. Okay. So from chemistry point of view, you are okay with this question. Okay. So I will consider this to be moderate only. Okay. Not tough. Okay. Question number 28. Is it out?
No.
So 107.72 is correct only now, sir.
Yeah. It should be 107.72 exactly. So this I am claiming for
Yes,
keychain.
sir.
This is definitely keychain. Okay, that I will go for. You know, if people are losing some marks there, you see, this is the thing. I think whole process you are familiar with. This is the whole solution. You can look into it. I'm giving you like 30 seconds. If you have anything to, explain, you ask. You see, you have to break this process into two parts, delta S1 and delta S2. Delta S1 is a constant temperature process. Okay, so delta S will be delta H by T. Okay, so from this you get delta S1 is equal to 100. Delta S2 is having, vapor changing temperature from 300 to 350. So here we have to use CPln T2 by T1 minus Rln P2 by P1 because pressure is given to be constant. So, and Cp is given. So you can use, this will be 0. So this will come out to be exactly 7.72. So answer should be exactly 107.72. There will be a key change here. Okay, I will claim this. Okay. Are you getting my point? 28 is done. 29. 29.
No.
No. Everyone is clear on 29? I think I have solved it somewhere. Okay, I will give you 30 seconds to go through this. Okay, yeah, this is 29. See, delta U is Q plus W, and W will be equal to minus Q by 2, because work is done on the surroundings, by the system. So, delta U will be equal to Q by 2, and Q is equal to C delta T. Okay, for any system, Q will be equal to C process into delta T. And delta U will always CV delta T. So if I'm writing delta U by Q, okay, or Q by delta U, it will be C delta T by CV delta T. So C is equal to 2 CV. Okay, so CV is equal to 3 by 2R. For monad of gas. Okay, 1 minute. This is stuck. Save. Yes. Okay, let me just check whether we have saved it or not. But these are too important. Is it saved? Yeah, we have saved it. So now I can just close it. I can open the save one. This is the problem which will not go till Microsoft doesn't release an update. Okay. But other features of this software is very good, so I have to use that one. This much we will have to bear. Okay, so we are here. So you see, CV is equal to 3 by 2R. So C is equal to 2 CV, which is 3R, and R is given to be 8.314. So if you put the values, you will get answer to be 24.942. So if you round off, you will get 24.94. Are you getting my point?
Yes.
Okay, so this is an easy question. This I will say it is an easy question. Okay, question number 30. So 30 concept wise it is easy, but calculation wise you won't get the answer. Have you done question 30?
Explain.
Okay.
Sir, I got
Explain.
something like
189.3.
190.89.
Huh?
189.3 will get, sir.
190.89 or something like that I got.
199 point.
Means you are not
Sir,
getting the
we'll get
answer.
one. We'll get
Okay.
191.12 if we take R as 0.082 and again multiply with 101, sir. As given in brackets, if we do, we are getting 191.12, sir.
You are getting.
But we
Okay.
No,
let me
sir.
let me check. 1 minute. 1 minute. Just 1 minute. I think I did this question somewhere because I confirmed that. Yeah, this is the attempt. I say zinc H2SO4, zinc plus H2SO4 is giving ZnSO4 plus H2. So you see, you are starting with 5 grams of zinc, which is 5 by 65 moles of zinc. So you'll be getting 5 by 65 moles of H2. So delta Ng is basically moles of reactants, products minus moles of reactant. It will be 5 by 65 or 1 by 30 moles. Okay. So work done will be minus delta Ng RT only. Are you getting my point?
Yes, sir.
Now here, if you are taking the value of R to be like 0.082, okay. So, and the temperature is like 296, okay. So 0.082, it will be like ATM liter, okay. Then you will be getting it as minus of 1.867. Okay, this I have calculated. If you are taking N to be 1 by 13, let me see, 13 inverse into 0.082 into 1.867. Okay.
Yes,
Sorry,
sir.
into 296, sorry. 296. You will
1.8670.
get exactly 1.867. Okay. If you multiply it by 101, okay. Okay. If you multiply this value by 101, you will still get the answer to be 188.57.
188.571.
Yeah. So you see, even if their value is correct, still you won't get 191.12. Are you getting my point? Okay. I think you will
Sir,
get, yeah.
when I calculated the same way, but at last I got something like 1.89. So that when I did it, I got it like 190.89.
Yeah, but the thing is, when I am doing it calculator, I am not getting that value. That is the thing.
Sir, when I
Means nearby
calculated, I
they'll
got it
give it,
just
sir.
Huh? This will go for a delete, most probably. Because
Okay.
there's a huge change in the value, 188 and 191. There's a change of like
Sir,
3, yeah.
I got like 189.3, sir.
No,
yes, sir,
wait, see,
even me.
Yes, sir.
189.3.
I got, sir.
See, you people are not having access to calculator, so you might be getting the values which are close to 189. That I am agreeing. See, the issue is not that what values you are getting. The issue is whether this value is correct or not. I don't think that this value should stand. Are you getting my point? This is
Yes,
at least
sir.
incorrect. Okay, on that I will be claiming, key change. Are you getting my point? So you see,
Sir, now what will you give the answer as?
from calculator, I am getting it to be minus 188.57. Manual calculations obviously will have some error. So obviously there will be, in this case, if you want me to give a range, I will give a range between 188 to 190.
Yes, sir.
If IIT gives this type of question, I will give a range of values. You would not give one single value. See, I am very against the numerical value questions, considering that they involve calculations for which you don't have the resources available. Are you getting my point? The calculators should be
Sir.
available for you. Yeah.
Now will you give 188 to 190 as the range for them?
I will suggest at least 190. You want me to suggest 191?
Yes, sir. 190.
Okay, this much range is sufficient. Or you can, if you want, I can suggest 188 to 192. That will make everyone happy. Will it be good?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay.
But sir, how did they get 191.12?
I don't know how they get, it's like the person who has see, first of all, there are so many mistakes in this paper now that I am frankly very irritated with this paper. Okay, it took me like 2 hours to go through each and every calculation, double check it before, so that your time is not wasted that much. But still a lot of time it is taking. But you see, this question is actually an easy question only. Are you getting my point? From a chemistry point of view, I'm not talking about calculation. Concept everyone is understanding?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
The moment they have mentioned 1 liter ATM, no, there's no point of multiplying it by 1.1. Are you getting my point? Because R is basically 0.082 liter ATM only. So the point of, multiplying it by 1.1 doesn't make any sense. Is it clear? If they would not have given this value, you might have multiplied, but even that is also incorrect. Okay, they are trying to, unnecessarily complicate a question which is much easier. Then, okay, so this will go for a delete only. I will try to suggest a delete. Okay, 31.
No,
Sir, 15.58 will.
This is
Sir,
like 30.
15.3 I got, sir.
No, this will be exactly 15.
15.58 I got, sir.
No, 1 minute. Let me just show you this question, actually. You see, this reaction is something like this. Temperature is changing from 546 to 1638. And pressure is changing from Pi to Y into Pi. Okay, so delta S will be Cp ln T2 by T1 minus R ln P2 by P1. And delta S is given to be 0 because there is no change in entropy of the gas. This means Cp ln T2 by T1 is equal to R ln P2 by P1. And you see, this will be exactly equal to 3. Okay, so Cp ln 3 is equal to R into ln of Y Pi by Pi. It will be R ln Y. You see, 5 by 2 ln 3. ln 3 can be written as 2.3 log 3. And ln Y can be written as 2.3 log Y. So 2.3 will cancel out. And R will cancel it out. Cp is 5 by 2R. So you see, you will be getting ultimately 5 by 2 is 2.5 into log of 3 they have given to me 0.48. That is equal to log of Y. Okay, now 2.5 into 0.48 will be 1.2. So log of Y is 1.2. So Y will be 10 power 1.2, which is 10 to the power 1 into 10 to the power 0.2. And you see, log of 1.58 is equal to 2. Log of 1.58 is equal to 2. Means at 10 to the power, 0.2. This means 10 to the power 0.2 is equal to 1.58. Okay, so this will be 1.58 into 10, it is 15.8. Now, where your answers will be varying is this part, 2.3 and 2.3 multiplication. Are you getting my point?
Sir,
Yeah.
I have done that 5 by 2 ln 3 is there, no sir. I have taken it as ln 3 power 2.5 is equals to ln y. So y will be equals to 3 power 2.5, which will be exactly 15.58. But what in question they have given is log
See,
3
3
is,
to the power 2.5, how will it be exactly 15.58?
I mean 15.58.
It will be 9 root
Sorry,
3, right?
3 to the
So,
power of 2.5, sir.
that is what, no? 3 to the power 2.5 is 9 into root 3. 3 to the power 2 into 3 to the power 0.5. It will be 9 root 3 only, no? So you see, here the root 3 will be the irrational part. That will be creating an error. Are you getting my point?
In calculator, if I type 3 power 2.5, I got 15.58.
Yeah, that you will be getting. But the thing is, here everything is cancelling out. So this from the examiner's perspective, they have given this. But again, I think that for this, they should at least consider the range to be between 15.5 to 15.9.
Yes,
Sir, 9 root 3, if we take root 3 as 1.7, we are getting 15.3, no, sir.
See, if you take 1.7, then you will get 15.3. If you take 1.732, then you will get 15.58 as she is getting. So it will vary.
Directly, if we type 3 power 2.5, also we'll hit 15.5x.
Yeah, that I am getting the point. But the idea is that you have to use the values which they have given in the question somehow. If they have mentioned the values, it will be better if you use that values instead of using the calculator.
So
Otherwise,
now
you
will you
get-
suggest them for the range from 15.5 to 15.9?
I will try. I will suggest it.
Sir, if there are any rational part, why do they even give their question for integer type?
It's not integer type. It's numerical value.
Yes, sir, that's what.
Oh. So see, the thing is that it is totally dependent on with what idea the question paper is set by the examiner. Okay. Generally, if he has given these values, he expects you to use these values somehow. For that, you have to manipulate the whole thing in such a way that you are able to use these values. So you see, I kept on not doing any simplification till I have cancelled out everything. Then I got log y to be 1.2. If I would have...
Sir, but log 3 is also not equals to 0.48 exactly, no, sir.
No, but they have given it here, no. See, the whole 15.8 answer is based on the fact that they are taking these values of log.
So we can take the range as 15.5 to 15.9 as the answer, no, sir.
I will suggest this from my side.
Yes, sir.
Okay. That I can do for you people. Okay. See, I understand that since the numerical value questions have come, not only you people are struggling, even the top campus students are struggling with calculations. So it is not you. So in general, everyone will be losing marks in this if they are taking the exact values to be the answer. But let us move forward. 32. Is 32 a doubt?
No, sir.
Okay,
No,
so
sir.
answer will be 7. It is a fairly easy question. So this brings us to 33, 34, 35, 36. First, I want to discuss 35 and 36. 35. Is a doubt?
Yes, sir.
Which option?
Yes, sir.
See,
Yes, sir.
this is asking which will not happen naturally. See, gas will have a tendency to expand naturally. If there is a gas which is enclosed in a container and there is a vacuum, then it will expand naturally. Okay. Similarly, NaCl dissolves in water naturally. If you put NaCl in water, it will dissolve automatically. You don't have to do anything from your side. Mixing of gases is spontaneous. Do you see? Separation of pure water from seawater. If you think of that, does it happen on its own? Means, you took a glass of, bucket of seawater and you automatically got pure water out of it. That never happens. You have to use a whole desalination plant to separate seawater, fresh water from seawater. Are you getting my point?
So,
Yeah.
does it mixing of gases need initiation?
Huh?
Mixing of gases.
Ah.
Doesn't it need some initiation to have
No,
that
delta
process?
X mixing is equal to 0. Acha, second thing is important, that need of initiation doesn't make a process non-spontaneous. Okay, See, non-spontaneous means that the moment you stop the external work, the reaction stops. Like you see, if I'm talking about combustion of H2 and O2, then you need some activation energy to initiate this reaction. But once the reaction is started, it continues on its own. Are you getting my point? But you see the reverse reaction, H2O giving H2 plus half O2. It is totally non-spontaneous. This means if you are doing this reaction, you have to give some external work in the form of battery or electricity. The moment you switch off the electricity, this process stops. In this case, the moment you stop giving the activation energy, the process will still continue because the energy released from this will, drive the reaction further. Are you getting my point?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So activation
Sir,
energy. Yes.
now for spontaneous reactions, initiation is required or not required, sir?
In some cases it is required, some cases it is not required. Like in case of combustion reaction, it is required, a spark is required. But you see, spontaneity is decided after the reaction has started. Whether it can continue on its own or whether you require some extra help. Are you getting my point? Suppose you have started this H2O giving H2 plus O2. If you switch off the electricity, will the reaction continue or not? The answer is no. Okay.
Yes.
So this is non-spontaneous. But if you switch, after giving the spark, if you don't give the spark again, the reaction will continue on its own because so much of energy is released during this reaction now that it will keep the reaction going forward. Okay?
Sir, so
Yes, sir.
initiation doesn't come under the external energy supply,
Yeah, you
right?
see, no, initiation comes under kinetics of the reaction, not thermodynamics. Okay. This it is concerned mainly with the rate of the reaction, not with the feasibility of the reaction. Are you getting my point?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Now, question number 36. Answer is D. Are you okay with it? It is a thermally insulated system, so Q is equal to 0, and it is expanded very slowly, means it is reversible. So it is a reversible adiabatic process. So delta S will be equal to 0. It is an isentropic process. So D is the correct option. So 35, 36 is okay with you, people?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. 34 and 33.
Explain.
It is actually the answers are given wrong. Okay. It is going for key change. Okay. Again, this question took a lot of my time and effort, but ultimately, I have to double check it like 3 times. Okay. Now, let us see what this question is telling. Okay. It is telling that you have 3 gram sample of Fe3O4 and Fe2O3. Okay. And you have some impurity also. And you are treating it with excess of care. Okay. So let me first draw the 1 minute, just 1 minute. Yes, sir. I am in a class right now. Yes, sir. Yeah, paper discussion of incoming juniors, actually. Yes. Yeah, I will give you the paper analysis, sir. Since morning, I have been, involved in this paper discussion. Yeah. By night I will, after paper discussion I will start. Okay, sir. I am having the key, I can say. Huh? Okay, I will send. Okay, sir. Thank you. Yeah. Now you see, let me first explain you how these reactions are taking place. Okay. Let me draw it separately for you people. Okay. Don't worry, this question is going for key change or delete for that matter. I think it will be going for key change. Anyone who did this question? Anyone? I will be very proud if you have done it. Although I know that you will be
Sir,
frustrated.
34 I did, sir.
You got answer in C?
2.96. Yes, sir, 2.96.
Okay, 34 you did correct. So 33
Yes.
also you must have done correct, no?
Actually, I did not get that FESO4 part.
Okay. Let us see. Okay.
Yes,
Now
sir.
you see, yeah. You see, you are having Fe3O4 plus Fe2O3. Okay. And you dissolve it in water. Okay. Now, this is containing some amount of Fe3 plus, which can be oxidized, which can react with a reducing agent. Okay. So this will be reacting with Ki. Okay. So what will happen is that two reactions will be taking place here. Okay. One will be Fe3O4 going to Fe2 plus and Fe2O3 also going to Fe2 plus. Okay, this Fe2 plus they are telling us like your FeSO4, which they are talking about. Now you see, what will happen to I minus? I minus will be going to I2. Are you getting my point? See, this is getting oxidized, reduced, so this is getting oxidized. So it is like 2I minus is giving I2 plus 2 electrons. Okay, can you balance this reaction? See, what is the total charge on the cations here? Plus 8.
Plus 8.
And here, you see, first you balance the number of Fe atoms. So if here it is 3, here also it is 3. So what is the total charge on cations here?
Plus 6.
So how many electrons it is taking per molecule?
Plus 2.
So 2 electrons on this side. Okay. Here, what is the total charge on cations? Plus 6.
Plus 6.
And first we, there are 2 Fe atoms. So it is 2
Plus
Fe.
4.
So it is plus 4.
Plus
So how many electrons?
Plus 2.
plus 2.
You see, you got the n factors of these two. Getting my point? And you also get how much of Fe2 plus will be produced if we are taking some amount of A and B. So let us say that I took A millimoles of this. Okay, I am writing everything in terms of millimoles. You took A millimoles of this and you took B millimoles of Fe2O3. Okay. So how many millimoles of Fe2 plus you will be getting? See, if you are starting with A millimoles of this, how many millimoles of Fe2 plus?
3A.
3. And if you are starting with B millimoles of this, how many millimoles
2A.
of F?
2B, sorry.
2B.
So how many millimoles of Fe2 plus you will be getting?
3A plus 2B.
3A plus.
Okay, this much is in millimoles. Okay. Now you see, if I am talking at n factor, now both are reacting with what? Ki,
Yes, sir.
right? So I can say that milli equivalence of I minus should be equal to milli equivalence of oxidizing agent. Here both are oxidizing agents. So total milli equivalence of oxidizing agent should be equal to total milli equivalence of I minus. Are you getting my point?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you see, what will be total milli equivalence of oxidizing agent? It will be, you see, you are having A millimoles and n factor is 2. So it will be 2A MEQs of Fe3O4. Getting my point?
Yes, sir.
And B millimoles of Fe2O3 and n factor is 2. So 2B
2B.
milli equivalence of Fe2O3. And this should be equal to milli equivalence of I minus. Did you get this? Did you understood up to this point?
Yes, sir.
Now, if you have understood this, rest of the questions will be easy. You see, Now you see these Fe3O4 and Fe2O3 reacted with Ki and you got some iodine. Okay, and this iodine, okay, now this solution was diluted. You will be getting iodine plus Fe2 plus. Okay, so let me write it both. You will be getting iodine plus Fe2 plus. Now, you see, what will be milliequivalent of I minus? It will be also equal to milliequivalents of iodine, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you see, now you know both these things. You know this is 2A plus 2B, okay, and you know Fe2 plus also. Now what is happening is that we made the solution 100 ml. We made the solution 100 ml. And after that, what we did is that we divided this solution. You took 20 ml of this solution. Okay. Which is
Sir?
containing I2. Yeah.
How did you get 2A plus 2B?
1 minute. One minute, I will check. You see, these two are acting as oxidizing agents because they are taking electrons. Are you getting this point?
Yes, sir.
Total milliequivalents of I minus here is the reducing agent. This you are getting?
Yes, sir.
The total milliequivalents of reducing agent should be equal to total milliequivalents of oxidizing agent.
That is 3A plus 2B, no, sir.
No, you see how many millimoles of A you are having? Fe3O4. A and N factor is 2. So milliequivalents will be how much? 2A.
Okay, sir.
Okay, and here it will be 2. Okay.
Yes,
See, in
sir.
Fe2 plus calculation, we are using the millimoles thing. Because if here it is 3, here also it will be 3 only. Okay, but when it comes to change of electrons, we have to use the N factor here. Okay, this is how. Now you see, what is happening that from 100 ml, I took 20 ml of the solution and then I treated it with hypo. Okay, and the reaction got completed. Now, hypo will only react with I2 because hypo is a reducing agent. It will only react with I2 part, it will not react with Fe2 plus. Are you getting my point?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, again, so this is one part. So I can write milliequivalent of I2 is equal to milliequivalent of hypo. And this, I think, is given to be 11 into 0.5. So 5.5 MEQs. Okay. Now, you see, I will come back to this part. Of this 100 ml, I took 50 ml of solution. Again, this is still containing Fe2 plus and it is containing I2. Okay. And what I did is that I removed off all of iodine. Okay. I removed all of iodine. Okay, so now I am only having Fe2 plus only. And then I reacted it with what? I reacted it with KMnO4. So what will KMnO4 do? It will convert all of Fe2 plus which is present here into Fe3 plus.
Fe3 plus.
Okay, so here the N factor will be 1. Milliequivalents of KMnO4 will be equal to milliequivalents of Fe2 plus. Are you getting this point?
Yes, sir.
I will focus back on the calculation. Now, if you have understood this much, let us go to the part where I have actually solved this question. Okay. Took me like half an hour just to recheck the values. Because, okay, so you see, this is the same thing which I have drawn here in a bigger scale. Now you see milliequivalents of Na2 hypo is 5.5. So milliequivalents of iodine will be also 5.5. Getting my point?
Yes, sir.
So you see in 20 ml you have 5.5 MEQs of iodine. So in 100 ml how many milliequivalents of iodine you will be having? 5.5
into 5.
Okay.
5.
You'll have 27.5 milliequivalents of iodine. Okay. Now, so you see, I can say that the milliequivalents of iodine, I have written here, no? Okay. Just a minute. That 2A plus 2B will be equal to what? 27.5. Are you getting this equation? Milliequivalents of iodine is equal to milliequivalents of 5 minus is equal to 2A
Yes,
plus
sir.
2B. Okay, so this is my first equation. Now second equation let us look into. Now you see, I took this 100 ml, I removed all the iodine, so I was having only Fe2 plus. And out of 100 ml, I took 50 ml of Fe2 plus. Now this 50 ml of Fe2 plus reacted with KMnO4. And the milliequivalents of KMnO4 which is used here is 12.8 into 0.25 into 5. 0.25 is I have taken to be 1 by 4. If you multiply this, you will get milliequivalents of KMnO4 to be 16 MEQs. Are you getting this point?
Yes, sir.
If milliequivalents of KMnO4 is 16 MEQs, milliequivalents of Fe2 plus will also be 16 MEQs. Getting my point?
Yes, sir.
Now you see, if you have 16 MEQs of Fe2 plus in 50 ml, in 100 ml, how many MEQs you will be having?
32.
32 MEQs. Okay, now you see, in this whole sequence of reaction, the N factor of Fe2 plus is 1. Are you getting my point?
Yes, sir.
So 32 MEQs will also be 32 millimoles of Fe2 plus.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you see, this 32 is equal to how much? This 32 is equal to Ca plus 2B. So you see, from this I have gotten two equations. 3A plus 2B is equal to 32 and 2A plus 2B is equal to 27.5. From this A will be 4.5 and B will be 9.25. Are you getting my point?
Yes, sir.
So you see, this will give you the answer of the first part, 33. Millimoles of Fe2 plus is 32. That you are getting?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, once you have gotten this, you see B basically is representing Fe2O3. And this many millimoles are present in 3 grams of sample. 3 grams of sample, you have 9.25 millimoles of Fe2O3. So in 6 grams of sample, how many millimoles of Fe2O3?
18 bucks.
It will be 9.25 into 2, it will be 18.5 millimoles. Okay, now you see this 18.5 millimoles will be equal to how much? Now more, it will be, what is the weight of Fe2O3 then? It will be 18.5 into 10 to the power minus 3. First we have to convert it into moles. Into Fe2O3 is 160. You have to multiply it by 160. If you do this, I think you will get the answer to be 2.96 grams. Are you getting my point?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this question is a bit lengthy and it is definitely a tough question. There's no doubt about it. Because it is tough and it is also given wrong. This is an easy question. Okay. And this is also an easy question. So with this, I think I have this, I can say it is moderate because too many statements are there. And this also I will consider moderate just because it is a integer type question. Okay, so I think I have valued all the questions. Are you clear with this paper discussion now? I will post the
Yes.
notes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, tell me. Any doubts? Yes, no.
No, sir.
Okay. So then it has been very long time. It is almost 1.5 hours. So, but you see, this paper was lengthy. That's why I didn't want to discuss it in morning. See, in morning classes, I want to, put the syllabus forward. Okay. See, generally, I understand your frame of mind. When I was in Fiji, when I was preparing for ITJ, they used to give these type of questions. These type of questions are basically that time when the pattern used to be subjective. So they used to give very long questions. So I actually gave the ITJ on subjective pattern only. Okay, I was the last batch to give the IT, both attempts I gave on subjective pattern. And, in subjective pattern, even if you get like 50-60% marks in the paper, you will be in top 100 in that particular subject. It's like that. Because there are a lot of places where you can, have errors. But the idea is that, you should be able to figure out the question. In these type of questions, the main thing is figuring out the question. Once you have figured out the questions, the rest of the calculations you can do easily. Okay. So I will be, posting these notes on the Teams. Okay. So you can, today's notes plus today's paper discussion notes plus thermochemistry notes. All these things I will be putting on Teams. Now you see, this week's syllabus is a bit less. Thermochemistry, we'll be able to finish it by Wednesday. Okay. So if it is finished by Wednesday, I will be taking Thursday and Friday gaseous state classes in the main classes. Is it okay?
Okay, sir.
And you people should do practice of thermochemistry from Avasti, apart from the, this Chaitanya. I will upload the Chaitanya material by tomorrow. Okay, give me some time because there are a lot of things to be done today. Okay, and we are still dealing with the theory part of thermochemistry. So just one day more you give me. By tomorrow I will upload the thing. So you have to do the practice and don't be worried. Okay. See, these type of questions, only those people will be able to do. Okay, especially the tough questions, who have already done these type of questions in class 10 or class 9 in their foundation program. If you are not able to do it right now, don't worry. Now in the coming exams, you will be able to at least attempt these type of questions. At least you will try to start thinking this way. Is it clear? But if you want to do, okay, so right now I won't ask you people to devote time on titrations because you see it is a never-ending topic. I can always give you a question which you won't be able to do. But the idea is to have a decent amount of confidence. At least questions like 26 and 27 you should be able to do easily. Are you getting my point? I expect you people to do 26, 27 type of. I don't expect you to do 25. I don't expect you to do something like 33 or 34. Okay, that I'm not expecting. But you see, my expectation with you people is to be smart. Avoid the questions which are very tough and time consuming, but do the questions which are moderate. So that is why I have marked all the questions here. So you can do your own analysis to see at least your batch. Your batch is the first batch. I expect you people to be smart. So at least the moderate questions you should be able to do. Okay. So with this, I am concluding the paper discussion. Okay. I hope that you people, got most of the points in this paper discussion. Okay. So with this, I am ending today's class. Okay. Thank you, people.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, someone is saying something. No, okay.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. If you have any problems in today's paper discussion, you can message me separately on WhatsApp. We can discuss. Okay. From my side, I have covered all the points. Okay. Thank you, people.
Sir.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Anything?
Please don't forget to send the range values to them, key changes.
Yeah, I will do it right now, actually. I always send the things after the paper discussion is done. The level of the paper also I will suggest right now, and the key changes also. Okay, don't worry. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.